There comes a time in every person's life when holding on becomes heavier than releasing. When clenching tightly to a thought, a memory, a past event feels like dragging a stone through the journey of life. And yet, we continue. Not because it helps us move forward, but because we fear who we are without it. But let us reflect for a moment. Why is it that we believe letting go means losing something? Why is it that we associate release with weakness, when in truth, it demands immense courage? When you open your hand, you no longer hold the burden, but neither are you empty. You are free. The storms in the mind, the shadows of regret, the pain from the past, these are not enemies. They are teachers. They arrive, they challenge, they shake, and they leave behind a choice to suffer or to learn. To repeat or to release, to hold or to let go. Letting go is not forgetting. It is understanding. It is the realization that peace cannot grow in soil poisoned by the need to control, that the path ahead cannot appear clearly when your eyes remain fixed on what is already behind. This is not about giving up, it is about giving space for transformation. So today, I invite you to go deeper, beyond the surface, beyond the mind, to explore not how to let go, but why. Because it is not enough to release. One must first understand what they are releasing, and why it no longer belongs in the hands of who they are becoming. To let go requires awareness, not of the world outside, but of the world within. Before we can understand what we are letting go of, we must become still enough to observe what we are holding. And for many people, the weight they carry is invisible. It is not in their hands, but in their minds. It lives in the form of resentment, regret, guilt, fear, and attachment. These emotions are not seen, but they shape how one walks, how one speaks, how one lives. To carry something within you that no longer serves you, and to carry it unconsciously, is to live in quiet suffering. Most people do not even recognize the source of their tension. They simply feel tired, emotionally exhausted, spiritually drained, and yet they continue to carry. Why? Because the pain has become familiar, and what is familiar, even if harmful, gives the illusion of safety. So we begin here, not with action, but with awareness. The first realization must be this: you are not your past. You are not the mistake. You are not the betrayal. You are not the identity that pain has constructed for you. These are experiences that happened, but they are not who you are. Yet when the experience is painful, it leaves behind residue. A thought loop that replays, a memory that resurfaces, a voice that questions your worth. And this voice, this inner dialogue, is what keeps the pain alive long after the event is over. So, to let go is not to erase the past. It is to stop identifying with the pain of it. You can remember without reliving. You can understand without attaching. You can forgive without forgetting. But to reach this level of inner freedom, one must become conscious of their internal world. This is where the practice begins. Close your eyes and observe what rises when you are still. What are you clenching to? Is it anger towards someone who wronged you? Is it disappointment in yourself? Is it the desire to change something you cannot control? Is it the fear of being vulnerable again? Often, we think letting go is about the external thing, a relationship, a job, a status. But deeper than that, it is about the emotion that binds us to that thing. It is the meaning we have given to it. It is the part of our identity we have attached to it. And unless we observe this link clearly, we will continue to repeat the cycle, replacing one burden with another, never truly free. Imagine holding a glass of water. At first, it seems light, but hold it for an hour and it starts to ache. Hold it for a day and it becomes unbearable. The water has not changed, but the burden is in the holding. This is how emotions work. This is how mental patterns operate. The longer you hold on to the same resentment, the heavier it becomes. Not because the event grew, but because your muscles are tired. Your heart is tired. And yet, you still hold on. Because you don't realize that it is safe to put it down. You have normalized suffering. But inner peace is not found through carrying everything. It is found through carrying only what is necessary. When a tree loses its leaves in autumn, it is not dying. It is preparing. It is letting go not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because nature understands cycles. Humans too are part of nature. But we resist the seasons of our inner world. We try to hold on to what has already passed. We cling to what has already changed. And we do this in the name of love, in the name of pride, in the name of control. But life moves. And if we do not move with it, we suffer. Letting go, therefore, is a natural process that the ego resists. The ego wants certainty, even if it is painful. It wants control, even if it costs peace. So the first battle is not with the outside world. It is within. To let go is not a technique. It is a shift in perception. It is the recognition that what you hold, holds you. That what you grasp, grasps you. That in the act of release, you do not become less, you become lighter. You become clearer. You become aligned. But before any of that happens, you must be still enough to observe the tightness inside you, the contraction in the chest, the thoughts that loop, the emotion that spikes when a memory arises. Observe without judgment. Simply notice, because awareness is the seed of transformation. Without it, no real letting go is possible. Without it, all change is surface level. But with it, a doorway opens. A doorway into the present moment, where the past no longer dictates who you are. Letting go is often misunderstood as a single act, a decision made in one moment of clarity, a dramatic release that changes everything. But in truth, letting go is a practice. It is something you return to again and again, each time peeling back another layer, each time going a little deeper into yourself. There are things we carry not just in our thoughts, but in our bodies, in the way we breathe, in the way our shoulders tighten, in how we react when certain words are spoken or certain people appear. This is not simply about the mind. It is about the entire system, the entire being, learning to relax into what is real and release what no longer serves. One of the reasons letting go feels so difficult is because we confuse attachment with love. We think that to stop clinging to a memory, to a person, to a version of ourselves, means we are being disloyal. We think letting go is a betrayal of what we once felt or believed. But the truth is, attachment and love are not the same. Love is expansive. It allows room for growth, for change, for evolution. Attachment is restrictive. It wants things to stay the same. It is rooted in fear, fear of loss, fear of change, fear of being alone. When we let go, we are not abandoning love. We are making space for a more honest expression of it. It is also important to recognize that many of the things we hold on to are not ours to carry. Some of our pain was inherited. Some of our beliefs were programmed. Some of our fears were passed down through generations. And yet we carry them as if they are part of our identity. We do not question them. We simply feel the weight and assume it belongs to us. But if you sit long enough in silence, if you look with enough courage, you begin to see the patterns. You begin to see the story you've been telling yourself. And you begin to ask, is this story true? Is it helpful? Does it serve the person I am becoming? Letting go requires this level of inner honesty. It is not about pretending the past didn't happen. It is about seeing it clearly, accepting it fully, and then making a conscious decision to no longer let it dictate your present. This is not easy. The mind loves to revisit the past. It loves to replay old conversations, to imagine different outcomes, to dwell in what could have been. But none of that changes what is. The more you resist what happened, the more power it has over you. Acceptance, therefore, is a vital step. Acceptance is not resignation. It is not saying what happened was right. It is simply acknowledging that it happened, and that you are no longer choosing to suffer because of it. The emotional body also needs time. You cannot force release. You cannot rush healing. You can only create the conditions for it to happen naturally. This means creating space for stillness, for reflection, for feeling. Not thinking about your emotions, but actually feeling them. Sitting with them without distraction, without judgment. Allowing them to rise and pass like waves. Each time you allow a wave to pass without clinging, you strengthen your capacity to let go. Each time you resist the urge to grasp, you build inner strength. Another layer to consider is identity. Often, we hold on to pain because it has become part of how we see ourselves. We become the person who was wronged, the person who was abandoned, the person who failed. These identities are comforting in a strange way because they are familiar. They give us a story. But every story is a limitation. To truly let go, we must be willing to step into the unknown. We must be willing to meet ourselves without the labels, without the narratives. This can feel disorienting at first, but it is also liberating. Because in the unknown, there is potential. There is freedom. Letting go is not about being passive. It is an active surrender. It is a courageous choice to trust life, to trust the process, to trust yourself. It means you no longer need to control everything. You no longer need all the answers. You begin to live with openness rather than resistance, and in that openness, life begins to flow. You begin to align with the natural rhythm of existence, which is always moving, always changing. Just like the river does not resist the bend, you begin to flow with what is, rather than fight against what was. This path is not linear. Some days you feel light, other days the old weight returns. But that too is part of the journey. Letting go is not about never feeling pain again. It is about no longer being defined by it. It is about reclaiming your power from the things that once held it. It is about becoming responsible for your own inner state, rather than waiting for the world to fix it for you. This is the foundation of inner strength. This is the quiet power that arises from deep within when you no longer cling to anything, not even your idea of who you are. Letting go is not only about releasing pain or detaching from the past. It is also about creating space. Space within yourself to experience life more clearly, more directly, more fully. When you hold on to something tightly, your hands are not free to receive anything new. In the same way, when your mind is crowded with old beliefs, old emotions, and unprocessed experiences, there is little room left for presence. Letting go is the art of emptying the cup, not because the cup is worthless, but because only an empty cup can be filled again. This is the quiet wisdom that many overlook in their search for peace. They continue to consume, to accumulate, to seek more knowledge, more experiences, more answers. But sometimes the answer does not lie in adding more. It lies in releasing what is already there. When you let go of the need to always be right, you create space for understanding. When you let go of expectations, you create space for surprise and spontaneity. When you let go of control, you create space for trust to emerge. These spaces are not empty in the negative sense. They are sacred. They are alive with potential. And only through consistent inner practice can you begin to recognize the richness that lives in stillness and spaciousness. But to reach that space, one must face the resistance within. There is a part of the mind that fears emptiness. It associates silence with danger, stillness with discomfort. That part wants to fill every moment with thought, every pause with distraction. It is addicted to stimulation because it does not know how to be alone, and yet it is only in solitude, in quiet awareness, that true release can occur. Letting go is not loud. It is not dramatic. It happens in those subtle moments when you witness a thought arise, and instead of grabbing it, you let it float by like a cloud in the sky. It happens when you feel an old emotion stirring in your chest, and instead of suppressing it or indulging it, you simply sit with it, breathe through it, and allow it to move. The more you practice this, the more you begin to see that much of what you believed was permanent is actually fluid. The pain that felt eternal begins to soften. The thought that seemed so real begins to dissolve. The identity you held so tightly begins to feel less fixed. You begin to sense that who you truly is not any of these things, but the awareness behind them. And this awareness does not need to hold on to anything to be whole. It is whole by nature. Letting go is also a form of respect. It is a way of honoring the past without being imprisoned by it. You can appreciate what something taught you and still move on. You can cherish a memory without needing to live in it. You can love someone deeply and still let them go if their presence no longer supports your growth. This kind of clarity only arises when you are willing to be radically honest with yourself. Not every chapter is meant to be read forever. Not every connection is meant to last. And this does not diminish its value. It simply reflects the impermanence that life is built upon. When you let go, you do not become less. You become lighter. You become more available to the life that is unfolding in front of you. You begin to experience moments not through the filter of the past, but through the openness of the present. You hear more clearly, see more deeply, feel more fully. And in this way, letting go is not the end of something. It is the beginning of something much deeper, an intimacy with life that is only possible when you are no longer trying to control it. Letting go is not something you do once and never face again. It is a discipline, a path, a way of meeting life moment by moment with clarity and presence. Many believe that once they have let go of a specific event or emotion, they are finished with it. But what often happens is that the same feeling reappears, sometimes in a different form, sometimes through a different person or situation. And so, they begin to think they have failed, or that the pain is permanent. But this is not a failure. It is simply life inviting you to go deeper. Letting go happens in layers. Just as you do not uncover the core of the self in a single breath, you do not release years of tension, habits, or emotional patterns in a single act of will. You return, again and again, with awareness, with patience, and with trust. To live this way means you must train the mind to become less reactive. A reactive mind clings. It wants certainty, safety, predictability. When things do not go as expected, it reaches out to grasp, to fix, to control. But this grasping only strengthens the illusion that you can avoid the discomfort of life. The truth is, life will always bring uncertainty. It will always offer both joy and challenge, gain and loss. The goal is not to avoid this, but to remain steady within it. Letting go, then, is not weakness. It is strength. It is the strength to stand in the middle of change and not collapse. It is the strength to surrender the illusion of control and meet life as it is. This process often requires courage, because sometimes what you need to let go of is not external at all. It is your own resistance, your own beliefs, your own self-image. And to release these things can feel like losing a part of yourself. But in truth, you are not losing the self. You are shedding the layers that were covering it. What remains is more authentic, more peaceful, and more capable of meeting life with wisdom. But that transformation requires a willingness to be uncomfortable. Growth rarely happens in comfort. It happens in the moments where you choose awareness over reaction, surrender over resistance, love over fear. Letting go is also deeply connected to trust. Not blind trust in fate, but trust in your own inner capacity to navigate life. To trust that you do not need to hold everything together, that you can allow space, allow change, allow uncertainty, and still be okay. This trust is built through practice. Every time you observe a thought without clinging, every time you breathe through a difficult emotion without being overwhelmed, every time you release the need to control and choose presence instead, you build trust. You prove to yourself that you are not the storm, but the sky that holds it. There is also a great humility in letting go. The humility to recognize that you do not always know what is best, that sometimes the thing you are clinging to is not meant for you, and that by holding on, you are blocking what is trying to come. Life is constantly moving, constantly inviting you to participate in its unfolding. But if your hands are full of the past, you miss the invitation. You miss the beauty of what is here now. Letting go is how you return. It is how you remember that this moment, this breath, this experience is alive, and that you are part of it. This does not mean you abandon responsibility or stop caring. It means you care more wisely. You learn to care without attachment, to act without force, to love without fear. And this way of living creates a different kind of power, a power that is quiet, grounded, and unshakable. It is not built on dominance or control, but on clarity and connection. The more you let go of what is false, the more clearly you can see what is true. And from that clarity, your actions become more aligned. Your relationships become more genuine. Your presence becomes more healing, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Letting go is not the end of something. It is the beginning of everything that is real. It is the return to presence, to inner stillness, to the wisdom that you were never meant to carry what no longer serves your growth. Through awareness, you begin to see the weight you've been holding. Through honesty, you begin to question why you've held it for so long. Through courage, you begin to release, not because it's easy, but because it is necessary for your evolution. To let go is not to lose. It is to open, to soften, to allow life to move through you rather than against you. You are not here to cling to pain, to identities, to illusions of control. You are here to experience, to grow, to shed what is no longer aligned. And as you do, you discover something profound. Peace does not come from fixing the world outside. It comes from freeing the world within. Letting go is how you return to that freedom. It is how you remember who you truly are.